E13, day 1, and we're introducing EW for the OO sound. It's a really hard one for kids to get, so I've thought up a little story for you to help you remember the sound that it makes. So just imagine this is you throwing a ball to your dog at the park, and your dog, when you're throwing the ball to the dog, your dog does poo, and you say, ooh, that's the sound we want. So you can see the ooh is hidden inside that picture for you. Okay, so here are our words. We've got ooh, new, ooh, few, you, due, you, pew. We can colour those in as we go. Ooh, stew, ooh, chew, ooh, flew, ooh, blue, ooh, crew, and you. Let's have a look where the EW appears in these words. We've got it at the end of all of these words, and the only word that it's at the start of is the word ewe. A ewe is a female sheep. Now, ewe on its own, EW on its own, is a phonogram, so to turn ewe into a word, they put an E on the end, because most English words have 3 or more letters. So now you see it has 3 letters, it's got that E on the end, you know that it's actually the word we use for a female sheep. Let's have a look at what these other words mean. So we've got new. So if you get a new car, you might get a new pair of shoes, there's lots of things. It means that you're the owner of something that you didn't have before. So it could be something quite new to you. Few means more than one. So you might have a few lollies in your pocket, or you might have a few marbles or a few balls, or you might have a few hats at home. There's lots of things. It means that you've got more than one. You've got a few. Dew are the droplets of water that we often see on plants on a cold morning. If you look outside, and as the sun comes out, the dewdrops dry up and you won't see them. So you'd have to be up early to see dewdrops on a plant. A pew is a long bench that you might see in a church or in a restaurant or somewhere where they need some long seats for lots of people to sit on. A stew is when we cook meat or fruit in a pot with water, and so a stew, if you had that for dinner, it would probably be meat and vegetables. If you had it for a dessert, it might be apples or pears or plums or something like that. Chew, quite often when we get gum, we have to chew hard. That means lots and lots of movements with our jaw to chew the food, and you have to remember, only chew the gum, don't swallow it. Flew means if you have already been somewhere in a plane, if you did it yesterday, you would say flew. We flew across Australia or wherever, or we flew to England on a plane. It can also mean to move very fast. So, we flew home after school. Doesn't mean to say you went in a plane, it just means that you went very fast. Blue, this blue comes from the word blowing, from blowing bubbles. So you blew up the balloon or you blew bubbles yesterday. The colour blue is spelt a little bit differently, B-L-U-E. So we spell words differently so we know that they mean different things. The crew are the people who might help you on a plane or on a boat or on a train. They're the people that are there to look after you. So we call them the crew. A ewe, as we said before, is a female sheep. Okay, let's read these words, sound them, spell them, and then write them. So new, n-oo, N-E-W, 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 cover it and write it 3 times. Off you go. This is E13 day 2, and we're revising that the EW can make that OO sound. So the only hint I can give you to make this easier, if you remember from our day 1, is if you think about when you take your dog to the park and you're throwing a ball to the dog, that's you throwing the ball, and this is your dog, and while you're at the park, your dog does poo, and you say ooh. That's the sound that we need you to make when you see the EW. And when you hear the ooh sound when you're sounding out a word, you know to write EW for that sound. Okay, let's have a look at these words that we've got with the EW for the ooh sound in it. We've got n, oo, new, f, oo, few, d, oo, dew, p, u, pew, st, u, stew, ch, oo, chew, f, l, oo, flew, b, l, oo, blue, k, r, oo, crew, and you. Now, you, the reason it has an E on the end is because if it was just left as EW, that would be a phonogram. So to make it into a word, we've added the E on the end because most English words have 3 or more letters. Now, with these words, just remember that new, this is when something is brand new. If you know something in your head, you're going to spell that differently with the K before it. Few means many or some, more than 1 or 2. Dew are the droplets that you see on plants early on a cold morning. A pew is a long chair that you see in a church. Stew is when you cook something in a pot and you cook it in water. Chew is when you eat something with your mouth and you chew your teeth together. Flew means flying through the air, so it might be a plane flew or a bird flew. Blue, this blue is where the wind blows. The other one is blue, meaning the colour blue. Crew are the people who look after you on a plane or a boat, and a ewe is a female sheep. So let's read the words, sound the words, spell the words, and write them. So we've got new, n-oo, new, N-E-W, and cover it and write the word. You can finish the rest of those on your own. Here you just have to finish the word and match to the picture, so you're just going to put the EW into all of those words, and some of them will have a picture that you've got to draw a line to. Fill in the gaps with the missing list words. We will sit on in the church. We will sit on a pew. We quite often see pews in a church. They're long benches that we can sit on. The jet something to the big town. The jet flew to the big town. So all the words that you need for these sentences are up here. You can finish that page on your own. This is E13 day 3, and we're revising the oo sound where we're using EW to make the oo sound in these words. So remember yesterday we talked about this being a good hint for you to remember the EW's making the oo sound, and the E is you throwing the ball to your dog at the park. The W becomes the legs of the dog, and while you're at the park, the dog does poo and you go ooh. So that's the sound that we want when you're writing the EW. So let's highlight that in each of these words. We've got n, oo, new, f, oo, few, d, u, dew, p, u, pew, st, u, stew, ch, oo, chew, full, ooh, b, blue, k, ooh, crew, and you. And remember, the only reason we have that E on the end of you is to make it into a word, because most English words have 3 or more letters. If we didn't have that E there, it would just be a phonogram. Okay, let's read the word, sound the word, spell the word, and then write it. Off we go. We're going n-oo, N-E-W. Cover it and write it. You can write the rest of those on your own. Down here you have to choose the correct verb. So mum is stew, stews, stewing, or stewed the meat for tea. Mum is stewing the meat for tea, so you have to highlight the correct form of the verb and then write it in. Stewing. You can finish these ones on your own. Plurals is when we quite often add an S to a word to make it mean more than one. So if we have one you, we would say you, but if we have more than one, we would say yous. You can write the word there. Stew, if we have more than one stew, we have stews. If we have more than one pew, we have pews. So you have to add the S to those base words to finish them off. Add ly to make an adverb. So if we have newly, we join those two bits together, new, and we add the suffix ly on the end, we get newly. That describes a verb. An adverb describes a verb. A something born kid may be black or tan when it is born. A newly born kid may be black or tan when it is born. You know a kid is a baby goat. Okay, down here you've got to do some word pairs. So you've got to find which list word goes with the word drops. You could have dewdrops. You can work out the other ones on your own. We've got something paper, fish something, something in gum. They're quite easy for you. E13 day 4, we're looking at sentences and the structure of a sentence. So a simple sentence must have a capital letter. So you'll see all of these sentences start with a capital letter. They must end with a full stop. So we've put all the full stops in, or question marks. And they also have to have a subject and a verb in them. So they're the two main parts that we have to have in a sentence. So first of all, we're going to look at the who in these sentences. The boy jumped over a brick wall. I want you to highlight the who for me in these. And then down the bottom, we're looking at the what. The stick is sharp and pointy. The what is the stick. So let's have a look. Circle and write who in the sentences. Jack got the ball. Who got the ball? Jack. So you have to highlight that and then write the who on the line. Mum likes to sleep in. Who likes to sleep in? Mum. Highlight it or circle it and then write the word at the end. Down the bottom it says circle and write the what in the sentences. The wand is new. What is new? The wand is new. So we've highlighted that and then we just have to write it at the end. The rain will soak the yard. What will soak the yard? The rain will. Oops, wrong colour. The rain will. You can circle it or highlight it, whichever. Highlight the prepositional phrase and answer yes or no. Now remember the prepositional phrase, it just asks for the position word in the sentence. And the phrase just means the words that go with that position. So is the herd of cows in the scrub? In is the preposition and the phrase is in the scrub. That's the bit of the sentence that it goes with. Is the dew on the fern? What's the preposition? On is the preposition and on the fern is the phrase. So you just have to write yes or no here if they're true or not. Is there a card near the gift? What's the word that tells us the position of the gift? Near. So you'd have to highlight the word near and it goes with the gift. You can finish that on your own.